certain way people that kill people behave. And there's certain things you look for. It's not all telltale, but sometimes you just get a feeling. Running from the police from a murder. When they finally get arrested, they're brought down to the homicide office and they get stuck in the box, which is the interview room. They have a tendency to kind of just ball up and just feel like they're done. It's a sense of relief. And he's crying, or she is crying.
What are you doing, man?
The emotion is spilling out of him.
I didn't kill her.
You might need to give that thing another look.
You put me in the box and I know I didn't do anything. I'm banging on the door one.
Okay, guys, don't forget about our missing girls here. I want to say welcome to Chasing a Murderer, a Run Talking News as well. And this is kind of in between the two. And we're back on the Lori Vallow case. And this is because I've been waiting for this moment for I don't know how long. It took a long time for Lori Vallow to realize that she's in deep doo-doo. Lori Vallow, the woman who is tied to multiple deaths, multiple people, and a cult that is tied to the Mormon religion. So it's basically just a branch off of that, something that I believe that she and her new husband and fifth husband, Chad Daybell, created. First of all, I want to say, if you're not familiar with this story, go check out my other videos, because we're going to jump right into the topic of today. Now, this video will probably be helpful to Melanie Gibb, to be honest. But, so we are learning that on Wednesday, the Daybell's attorney, Mark Means, that's Lori's attorney, guys, put out a controversial plea for witnesses in his client's case through Twitter. Now, those of us that know about Lori Vallow in this case, at least well, I've always had a very strong feeling I understand Lori. She's quite a manipulator. And she is the type of person that will not go down without a fight, even if it hurts her. So I've been awaiting this moment for a long, long time. Just like her brother Alex Cox, who never gives up going after the person they are wanting to take down. Lori carries that trait as well. So behind bars, she has limited ways of reaching out to those that she considers her enemy. So right now, I'm going to read what has been put on Twitter by Mark Means. And I want to say what I think this is. So I believe this is Lori Vallow's way of threatening the person she supposedly loves. Instead of coming to terms that she has hurt her own children, her husband, and there are many others, she is on fire. She's angry, and she is going after Melanie Gibb. That's my opinion, guys, and I don't usually share this kind of stuff, but I'm very strong in this case. So Mark Means writes, quote, "As I prepare for the defense of Lori Vallow Daybell," the first tweet reads, "I am learning that the persons like Melanie Gibbs and her boyfriend David Warwick appear to have been eagerly involved in more than they let on. If you know something, say something," end quote. Now get this. The first tweet that we just read is attached to a picture of running rats. He closes the second tweet saying, quote, "We need the persons of knowledge to come forward," end quote. So we know that Melanie Gibb and David Warwick are huge witnesses in this case. If they continue to stand as the witnesses, they are the main factor that is going to take both Chad Daybell and Lori Vallow down. So we already seen Melanie, both David and Melanie, testify in court that Lori asked Melanie to lie to police about the whereabouts of JJ Vallow. So KTVB has a story out on this, and they say that there is a attorney general by the name of Dave Leroy. And Dave comments on this tweet. He says that this tweet is signs that Means is gearing up for trial. And he says, quote, "There's nothing per se inappropriate about it," end quote. But, he says in a contradictive way, quote, "but it's not very common practice," end quote. It's disturbing to me that they're not saying what it is. And this is a threat. This is clearly, in my opinion, a straight out threat. If you continue to talk, well, you're going down with me. So what I want to say to Melanie Gibb is they can use this tweet later on, if she does this, as a threat. And also, they have to have evidence that you physically had something to do with the kid's disappearance. That's never going to come up there unless you absolutely did have something to do with that, and you have a witness that said, yes, I seen Melanie and David both have their hands on these children, or have written documentation of such a plan to dispose of Lori Vallow's children. There's not much they can do. Now, I'm not a lawyer, but I am learning that I've seen some cases that have mounds of evidence, and they can hardly take them down. Kelsey Barrett being one. So, yeah, definitely, I believe that Lori Vallow has now come to reality. She understands how much trouble she's in. As for Chad Daybell, he's probably going to sit back, keep his mouth shut, and go over his options. He's probably going to be leaning to whatever side helps him out as we move further into the future on this case. But I think at this time, what Chad Daybell is going to probably do is just sit back, let Lori drive for a bit, and see what happens. I think if he feels like she's making things worse, and there's enough time put in between them, and he understands the trouble that they're in, there's a possibility that he might do what he needs to do, and that is to place the blame where it belongs. But that's a very small percentage, I think. But the fact that Lori Vallow is making these threats to Melanie Gibb probably is a deep reality for her, probably taking her back to that day, saying that, you know, for your safety, you better not ask, say, or do. Because Melanie already felt that her safety was already in jeopardy. Now, several people believe that Melanie Gibb did play a role in this in some way. But there's absolutely no proof that I can find that she knew, you know, was she the one that was planning all this? I don't know. Could she have known that, you know, what happened to the children? I don't know. But there's one person we do know that does know, and that is Melanie Boudreau. And that's my opinion. So if Lori Vallow was seriously looking for witnesses, she would probably be seeking something against Melanie Boudreau, her niece. So that kind of tells you right there that most likely this is just another threat from Lori Vallow. This is her way of saying to step back, shut your mouth. I'm pretty sure that her attorney was like, I don't know if that's a good idea. And I'm sure Lori said something along the lines of, well, you do what I say. And so when Mark Means does talk in the future after this case is over, hopefully he does, we'll find out more. How an attorney can represent people like this, I don't know. I'm not a fan of defense attorneys, and I know there's many innocent people out there, but we all know that in this case, most likely this is the truth of who is involved with this. And we realize that Lori, with the kids being found on Chad's property, their involvement with the kids' disappearance. I just don't understand how a good person with a conscience can defend somebody like this. Now, I've gotten deeply emotionally involved with this case, as many of us have, and I have expected this. I was always wondering in the back of my mind and looking, because I knew she was going to make a threat. But how was she going to do it? Was she going to be brave enough to make her dirty attorney to, send such concerning notes on the internet? I mean, this is something I just don't get why he would even do something like that, because this can actually end up hurting them worse. Because once they opened this door, they kind of admitted that they know that something bad happened, and that they know that Melanie Gibb and David Warwick was part of whatever that is. So in my opinion, I think you can take that as a confession. Again, I'm not a lawyer, but it just seems like they're just opening a can that they probably shouldn't have. So what do you think, or how do you think that Melanie Gibb and David Warwick will take this? Do you think this will scare them? Do you think there's other witnesses out there that will come forward and say, because in reality, it's not just a threat to Melanie or David, it's a threat to anybody else that's involved with that circle. It's kind of like saying, look, we're going down and we can take other people down with us unless we get witnesses and we can throw it somewhere else. So guys, let me remind you, that's just my opinion. Lori Vallow is a very deceitful, evil, conniving individual. I'm not saying this to down you. I'm saying this to say or describe who this woman is and how she lives her life. We know that we can describe her in this way because there's tons of evidence out there showing that she's very deceitful and lies. We've seen her in the courtroom when her kids are missing, when she's smiling and smirking, while the world is concerned about the well-being of her 2 children. We know what she is capable of doing. Dave, this attorney that is speaking to this news source, says, quote, they are entitled to be zealous in their advocacy and representing a client, end quote. So let's kind of break this down. So they're being aggressive. That's admitted. They understand this is an aggressive tactic. But still, in my opinion, I take it as a personal threat. I can't believe the attorney actually had, to do that. And this is why I say this, because they had a very tight circle involved with this little cult group. Everybody knew everybody. And there's only a certain amount of people that's involved with this. They shut everybody else out. There's just a handful of people that know what's going on. And so if Mark Means wanted to find a witness, well, all he has to do is pick up the phone and reach out. So why did they take to the internet like that? I want you to comment below and give your opinion on why you think Mark Means addressed the public in the way that he did. So this is understandable if they say, we're looking for somebody that can maybe back up this timeline that she claims she has. Maybe somebody that can confirm that Lori Vallow was in this place at this time. That makes more sense. But this was a straight-on attack to Melanie Gibb and David Warwick, which I'm hoping that they understand that there's just not much that they can do to either one of them. Now, we do feel like Melanie Gibb and David Warwick, especially Melanie Gibb, not so much David, knew a lot more that was going on. And what I would do with this, if I was Melanie Gibb, is this would fuel my fire and actually bring out even more on Lori Vallow and Chad Daybell. As long as Melanie Gibb has not dug a hole, pulled a trigger, she hasn't personally witnessed anything that is a wrongdoing, she can clearly say, look, I overheard them talking about this. I was in this group, but I wasn't certain exactly what it stood for. And as I got deeper into this, I started to see that something wasn't right. And to tell investigators the entire truth without worrying about herself. That's just how I feel. I just think that because she's trying not to say too much, but doing enough that she thinks will help the case and bring justice, is actually, it can hurt her a little bit. So definitely this segment, this upload is more about my personal feelings on this case and this Twitter post. It's not any kind of legal advice. It's just an opinion. It's an opinion I wanted to share with my viewers, the people who subscribe to this channel. So yes, I was kind of expecting something like this. I just didn't know how she would do it. And what's interesting is Lori Vallow has a tablet behind bars. And you can go to this app. I wasn't going to share this, but I'm going to share it now. You can go to an app. I forget what it's called. Let me look it up for you. So here you go, guys. Getting Out is one of those apps that you can actually look up a prisoner, such as Lori Vallow, and put in to speak with her. And so there's different schedules and dates that you can choose from, and you can choose to speak to her about 15 to 30 minutes. The thing is that she has to accept your either your video chat or whatever you offer when you try to schedule a time to speak with Lori Vallow. And so it'll show you the times that are available. If it's blocked out, then those times are not available. Of course, you can only speak with her for a small fee. I think it's about $2 to $3 for a certain amount of time, and you have to deposit money in. So this kind of concerns me, that these people behind bars are able to freely access the internet. These are some of the most dangerous people on earth, and they're able to speak with loved ones, friends, anybody they choose, basically, which I'm not totally against that, but I don't think they should have all day and all night to be able to chat with whoever they choose at any time. I think that there should be a limit. I mean, you're there to be punished. So basically, jail's looking like somebody locked into their bedroom for the rest of their life. It doesn't sound so bad, does it? So yeah, I was very shocked to see that you can contact her anytime you want if she accepts, your phone call, whatever. Now, where Chad's at, they're not offering this, so I don't think he's able to be so open and free to contact and speak with people. But still shocking, just shocking to see Lori Vallow. I can pretty much bet that she's using this to reach out to people, and it will be interesting to see, everything that she's doing from behind bars. Meanwhile, Tylee and JJ no longer are on this earth. They're no longer here. They can't grow up, get married, have children of their own. And she just doesn't seem to get just how big that is, that she took the life away from two people who loved her the most. We also have Charles Vallow, who is just as worthy of sympathy. Charles Vallow, her fourth husband, went out of his way trying to save her life to keep her from going to prison or doing something that she would actually probably be sorry for doing. He was trying to save these kids' lives, and the system just wasn't helping him out. And everybody knows that if this had played out and they would have just given Charles legally JJ, they could at least saved two people, possibly saved two people. Hopefully it would have saved three. But the justice system and our law system, they just let these children down so badly. I couldn't imagine being one of the officers that took this on and just taking it lightly, not putting too much into it, because this is something they see on a daily basis. Maybe not as severe, but they deal with some crazy people. And looking back, seeing the outcome of not doing something, that must be eating at them at least a little bit. So the least they can do is try to find a way to help bring justice to these children. Maybe there's something they missed. So I figured you guys might be interested in hearing or talking about this a little bit. And I kind of did this. I have no script. I just kind of went over it real quick because I'm trying to do a lot of things. And I uploaded a few videos to help some of the missing women out there. And it's just really difficult to have time to do everything I would like to do. Before we close out, I want to say that I switched environments. Sorry, guys. I want to address the fact of how manipulative people work. People like Lori Vallow, for instance. So there are basically three major factors when it comes to manipulative behavior: fear, obligation, and guilt. When you are being manipulated by someone, you are being psychologically coaxed into doing something you probably don't even want to. You might feel scared to do it, or obligated to do it, or guilty about not doing it. So basically, people like Lori, they are the bully and the victim. So a bully makes you feel fearful, and they might use like laws versus aggression or fear, whatever threats, to intimidate or control you. If threats doesn't work, well, usually they start off with this. They'll start off by trying to make you feel guilty. So when they do that, they pressure you into doing what they want you to do. Or they see themselves as a victim and they push it onto you, telling you that, see me as a victim. I'm in danger here. I need you to help me. But the truth is, although they portray the victim, they are the ones causing all the trouble around it. Hence, when Melanie said, I've never seen so much of drama around one person. Lori Vallow, her mother even says, her sister says, everybody says that Lori Vallow is a victim. And she's always been a victim. In a world of victims, when she has never once been wrong, that is the telltale sign that you have a manipulator. And so, Lori doesn't realize this. But that isn't going to work any longer. And Melanie Gibb, don't be afraid to admit you were dumb. You fell for this stuff, but you didn't understand just how far it was how deep it was going to go. So I hope Melanie Gibb and David Warwick, instead of feeling like they're having to defend themselves, a true person of light and God would not worry about themselves, but for the children. And if you have faith in God and you know you did nothing wrong, when you tell that truth, it's going to play out the way it should. That's how I feel anyways, guys. So, but thank you so much to all of you who have subscribed to this channel, who have commented and liked, and have been a positive example, supporter, and friend. I so many times forget to say thank you. I always say I love you, and I always say thank you for watching, but I never really reach out and say I really appreciate you guys. And that's because I'm cramming so much in, and I'm just trying to do so much and not enough time. I love you guys so much. I appreciate everything that you have done to help this channel out. I do see it, and I see your comments. It's just right now I might be a little late getting to some of them. So, guys, please stay safe out there, and let's hope that Charles Vallow, Tammy Daybell, and Tylee Ryan and JJ all get the justice that they deserve. And hopefully everybody sees that tweet as it really is. But I'll let you develop your own opinion on that. All right, guys. See you soon.